Welcome everyone back to another video, and in today's episode I am going to be going over something that I see a lot of the other Pokemon Go trainers do, and that is going over their collection. That talks about their max CP, talks about their what certain Pokemon mean to them, and some of them may have sentimental value, some of them may be for PvP purposes and or raid purposes. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, I'm going to bring up the first notation for you guys. I use a star, and the star, as you could tell from the certain Pokemon that have popped up on the list, these are my maxed out Pokemon. I only have 4 maxed Mewtwo's. I'm still waiting on another 98. As you can see, I have the boss 98. This, unfortunately, given the date, back in 2018, it was at an EX raid that I actually couldn't do. I had a friend do it for me, and he actually caught this one for me. It's essentially the Hundo, at level 40. It's essentially the Hundo. It's just not an official Hundo, of course. Then I have a 96. This one, I think, just has Psychic. I caught this one from when Mewtwo was in raids later on in the year, when it was not in the EX raid system. This one, I will forever name it TRP93. Good buddy of mine who is now considered kind of a casual player in my opinion. We did our lucky trade. It was for Shadow Ball. I actually ended up getting a 96, and I believe he ended up getting a Lundo. Yeah, he ended up, because I don't think I had any more Shadow Ball Mewtwo's, but he got the Lundo with Psystrike, so I consider that a fair trade. And then, of course, my shiny Mewtwo. A little bummed out I don't have attack on it, but given the set of circumstances, it was obviously during when Mewtwo's shiny was first available, and also when it was the introduction of Psystrike Mewtwo's. So, and plus this was on the first Mewtwo raid I had the opportunity to do when it was out. Alright, next up I have Groudon. Very sentimental to me. In the Ruby Sapphire games, I always picked Ruby. I always liked Pokemon Ruby over Pokemon Sapphire, and mainly because I liked Groudon better than Kyogre, although we all know how that match goes. Kyogre always will win that match, regardless of the circumstances. Caught this actually the day before the 4th of July, and it's funny because my raid partner in crime, I like Skittles, actually got his Hundo Groudon on the 4th of July. So I still don't have I have the rare candies. I just don't have the for starters, I don't have the elite charge TM, and 2, I don't have at the moment. I just don't have the elite charge TM, but I have the candies. I'm not dumping in it yet because I don't have the TM. Maxed out 3 other Groudons. I maxed 4 Kyos. This one was my most expensive, because as Brea, Ohio is actually a S2 cell that's not on the maps, it will show you that I caught it from the Strongsville region. And I actually caught this as from the field research breakthrough. And of course, unfortunately, it's not like my best. It's not the best Kyo I could have maxed out, but it was the best one I have in my collection, so I just said, why not? I had the candies, had the resources, I maxed it. Both my Groudons, that one has 15, 14, 14, that one's 15, 13, 15, as the notation has it labeled. Another thing you notice, I also label the IVs on all of my Pokemon, based on if it's a 93 or higher, or if it's for PvP use or whatever. I will label the IVs based on the appraisal. And then I also got this one. I only maxed this one because it was a lucky. Did a lucky trade. Really wasn't the best one, but I just said heck with it. And it also helped me a lot with my Rhydon solo because I really needed at least 4 Kyos. From what I was told, you could do it with at least 4 Kyos if it's running Surf. I was fortunate enough to get the solo Rhydon done because I had Surf Kyogres. Hydro Pump, if you had Hydro Pump, it was going to be really, really close. But Surf guaranteed that you could definitely solo it as long as you had the team comp. Oh, yes, my Hundo Reshiram. I should say my Lundo Reshiram. Got this one from one of the great players I play Pokemon Go with. Shout out to the legendary Big Game James. Did a lucky trade. Unfortunately, his was not great, but ended up getting the Hundo for Reshiram. This is going to be huge for when we need to run fire types. When fire type teams, the composition of fire types need to be thrown out. I will get later on. I believe I have a full team of Reshiram, but I also have 3 more 98s that I also will power up in time. One of my big prized possessions, my Lundo Zekrom. I did probably about 200 raids when it was out. My Zekrom is by far, bar none, one of my favorite and my more prouder Hundos I own. I'm thinking about using it for PvP, but then again, I'm not like 100% sure because still loses to Dialga, but it can really still win a lot of the matchups. It wins against Kyogre, it wins against Origin Giratina and Melmetal. But I have a really hard time trying to beat Dialga if I run Zekrom and as well as Togekiss. My 98 IV Dialga. I'll actually get back to my Zekrom real quick. Shout out to Hulk Smash Mode. His name is Drew, so shout out to Drew giving me the Lundo. I gave him a lucky 98 that had 14 HP, so it's essentially a double Hundo once it's maxed at level 40. Then my lucky 98 Best Bud Dialga. I only have 2 max Dialgas. I never really was big on Dialga from the raid perspective, but I saw the mass use and the power it had in the Master League. The Land 321 Mystic. I call him Mystic Kevin because there's several other Kevins I know that are on different teams, but he was the first Mystic Kevin I knew. He was the first Kevin I actually met, but he was Mystic, so we were actually former teammates. But shout out to Kevin for the lucky 98. Then my Reshirams. As you can see here, I do have the full team comp. I have 6 maxed out Reshirams. I only maxed this one because it was because it was a lucky, and it was one of my first lucky trades I did. Don't have too many Palkias. My Best Bud Garchomp. Now that I know about the Premier Cup, I will be actually showcasing some Premier Cup battles soon. Master League's just a little too much anymore because a lot of the double steal tactic almost never works because of Groudon. Groudon with Fire Punch really broke the double steal comp in Master League, but I'm really killing it in the Premier Cup. But I will get with that later on down the road. I have 4 maxed Garchomps. I love my 98 Palkia. Just wish Palkia had a better move than Draco. Really disappointed though. Most of my Garchomps have the double move. Really like I really like Garchomp. Garchomp really helped me for my Zekrom duos. Also as well as the Reshiram duos when it wasn't Draco Meteor. My 98 Ho-Oh, mainly because it has hidden power flying. I kind of wish I would have waited because I do have a Hundo Ho-Oh that I wish I could have maxed. I have 6 maxed out Tyrannitars. I have 2 of them which are Hundos. Neither of them have Smackdown. Was a little unfortunate, but in the end I found out it really wasn't worth it in the end anyways. Because Rampardos, Smackdown Rampardos and Terrakion are just simply better coverages than Tyranitar. Tyranitar is nothing more than just an afterthought, but I really do like showcasing Hundo Tyranitar to you guys because I actually caught one and then I hatched one. This one I actually caught. I was about to transfer it, and I was like, wait a minute, why not? I might as well check the IVs. And then this was back when I was still on Team Mystic. I got Mystic's appraisal of it was a wonder, HP, attack, defense, and then it was incredible. Really, really happy I didn't transfer. Not that it mattered, but I mean, if you're a Hundo collector like myself, you know, it's kind of a proud moment. Hatched a Hundo Tyranitar, or hatched a Hundo Larvitar almost a year after I got my first Hundo Larvitar. I powered it up and maxed it out, not knowing that it was going to get a community day later, like 2 months after this. And I was like, oh man, I was like, that was stupid. But then again, it really didn't matter. So this one is one of my good ones that is with Smackdown, and I maxed it because why not? Then I'm going to get into my Rayquazas. Oh boy. I will tell you, this one was probably the most expensive investment I probably put in. I would have to say I have 10 maxed Rayquazas. It's probably the one Pokemon that I've probably maxed the most of, probably alongside with Machamp. Really, Rayquaza really helped a lot with the duos of such as Palkia and both Giratina forms in Altered and Origin. Really helped out with just raids, and I use it a lot for gym battling. I got 398s. I have 396s. And then I have a shiny. This was my best shiny Rayquaza I had actually retrieved. Unfortunately, I'm not like Kaito Nolan's son Kai, who ended up getting. I think he got a whole team of Hundo Rayquazas. I think he has 6 full maxed Rayquazas, and I think he has 2 Shundos. I'm pretty sure he has 2 Shundos, I think that's pretty badass actually. I wish I had a Shundo Rayquaza. It's my favorite shiny, but it's all right. Then I have 4 maxed 93s. And really, I mean, that's just for the second lobby in case, so to save the revives and the time. My 98 Latios. I will explain why I bought the second move. Really, the reason why I bought the second move in large part was because of the error Niantic made by, I think it was a typo error in their system where they made the charge moves to buy the second move only 25 candy spent versus 100. So obviously you could do the math. You could buy 4 more of any of those Pokemon, buy the extra moves. Sure, it still burns the 100,000 dust, but you're saving the candy, which is arguably the second most important investment in the game. Stardust being the most important, with the candy being the second. I really like Solar Beam on it because even though it doesn't have stab, it's still better than most of the grass types in the game because grass is kind of a weak type in the game. But I'll explain later down the road, as I only have a few good grass types that I could showcase. Dragonite, I believe I have, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have 4 Hundo Dragonites. I caught 2 in the wild. And then I actually plan on making this one my best buddy because I did buy the second move on it. My Metagross team, I actually cannot wait for another Elite Charge TM. I'm really contemplating about using it for the this Metagross because I do not have Meteor Mash. Unfortunately, I have Flash Cannon. Meteor Mash Metagross obviously is the way to go if you're running Metagross. Meteor Mash, unfortunately, though, is its Community Day exclusive move, and you either have to wait till December when all of the Community Days are featured, and then you can evolve at any point within the time frame to get the Legacy move, or you could use the Elite Charge TMs or the Elite TMs to get that special move. I have 5 maxed Metagrosses. I'm really going to be hyped about when Xerneas comes around, because Xerneas is really going to be the key to see if it's possible to duo in maybe snowy weather. I don't know if it's possible, but nevertheless, it's still going to be a very expensive investment. Nevertheless, I still have one more Metagross to max out, and we'll go from there. I maxed out this Latios. Why? I don't know. I think the only reason I maxed it was because it was my best one I had, and I actually thought I had 14 attack versus the defense stat. So, I mean, that's kind of my fault, but, I mean, it was one of my better ones at the moment. It's funny because I caught this on 4/19 of 2018, and I subsequently caught this one on 4/17. So I caught it roughly almost a year after I had gotten that Latios. All right, my Salamence team. I actually think I have 5 max Salamences. Unfortunately, I didn't max one that had Outrage, and really for no other reason, because Salamence is still outpaced by Rayquaza, and now that Zekrom's in the game, and Reshiram, but mostly Zekrom, because Zekrom's in the game with Outrage as not being an exclusive move, Zekrom clearly outpaces Salamence in that forefront. This one was a lucky 98 that I had traded on Community Day. And then I will explain my others. Here are my other 2 Salamences. I only maxed them because they were luckies. One of my other prized possessions, my Hundo Darkrai. I really don't feel like giving Darkrai the secondary move, in large part because Darkrai it's too squishy in Master League, and then obviously in Premier Cup it is not allowed because Premier Cup only restricts legendaries as well as mythicals. Heatran, I always loved Heatran in the games too. Maxed out arguably my best Heatran. Probably the only one I'm going to max to now that Reshiram's in the game. Rhyperior's, I believe I have 4, if not 5 maxed Rhyperiors. This one's the only one, unfortunately, as far as my Hundos go, that are labeled Mountain Dew, that is with Rock Record. And I'll explain what Mountain Dew is. Orlando, Florida. It's funny where I caught this one. I actually caught this one when I was on vacation down in Florida, down in 2017. Caught these in the wild. Unfortunately, they all don't have Rock Record. Actually, no, I have a full team of maxed Rhyperiors, which is actually, that's terrific for me. I have 4 maxed Darkrai's. Darkrai was really good to me. 15, 14, 15, 15, 14, 15, 15, 15, 14. I essentially got, this one is the Hundo, the secondary Hundo. I have 4 max Darkrai's. Darkrai, I'm really going to be happy for once Mewtwo comes back. We will probably, in all likelihood, be allowed to duo as long as we have a 6-man squad. Well, at that point, a 12-man squad for the duo of Darkrai's. All right, Hundo Terrakion. Oh yeah, I I love Hundo Terrakion. Terrakion is really good. Unfortunately, it lacks a fast fighting move in the form. I don't even know if it can actually get like a move such as counter. I don't think it can, but it would have been actually kind of sweet if it did get a move like counter. But, I mean, Terrakion, it's still one of my favorite ones out of the three, at least of the Swords of Justice. Origin, Best Buddy, Giratina Origin. This was, unfortunately, my best one at the time. And I already invested the walking time in it. And I just said, why not? I might as well invest the time in putting the investment into Origin Giratina. Obviously, Giratina Origin still has a lot of play in the Masters League. Giratina Origin still loses hard to Dialga. Still loses it loses to Palkia. It loses to the newest additions in the form of Reshiram and Zekrom. Still, it could beat Melmetal and Metagross, but it still gets walled by Snorlax. Not really too happy about that one. Hydreigon. I was really happy I got this one. I got it from a lucky trade. 98 Hydreigon. I really like Hydreigon, although Hydreigon has no real significant use in the meta. Just because there's just other better dark types, Darkrai, and then Dragons, Rayquaza, Dragonite, Palkia, Dialga, Zekrom, Reshiram, you name it. Melmetal. This was my MVP of my Season 1 Rank 10. Melmetal single-handedly won majority of my games. So many Dialga leads. I had a lot of Togekiss leads too. Giratina Origin was a lot in the back, and then I would just destroy Origin Giratina with my own Dialga. I love rocking Rock Slide with Superpower, no pun intended. Rock Slide's really good for baiting shields. And then you drop the Superpower despite the both attack and defense drop. I actually maxed out 2 Melmetals because I maxed this one because it was actually my best one at the time. And then I opened up the Meltan box on a snowy day. And I got actually really, really lucky. And I ended up getting basically the 98, the Hundo at level 40. So very fortunate on that one. Landorus. This is an interesting one. I actually like Landorus a lot, but Landorus is another one of those really glassy Pokemon, but it could still have some use in the meta. Landorus, obviously, as you see the amount of candy, I dumped a lot of candies into Landorus because of the later on down the road, it's going to get its incarnate form, or it's going to get its Therian form, which is arguably probably going to be the best ground type in the game. It's going to break, and I mean it's going to break the Master League in PvP because it has, as you all know, or if you don't know, the genie forms, the forces of nature is what they are called. They have the same exact moveset, despite the forms that they're in. Unlike Altered Giratina and Origin Giratina, these the forces of nature, as far as they look like genies, like such, where they're on the clouds, and then the Therians look like kind of like either birds or dogs. Landorus Therian looks like a dog. Thundurus Therian kind of looks like a. I mean, it kind of looks like a Thundercat or maybe even a Thunderbird, and then obviously Tornadus Therian looks like a condor type thing, but that's a whole nother story. Zapdos, really wish my Zapdos had Thundershock. I could hypothetically give it Thundershock because I have the Elite Fast TM, but Zapdos really doesn't have any use. Zapdos is just, it's too squishy to use in from the PvP side, and Zekrom's now blowing it out of the water through the raid side. Hundo Latios. I really like Latios. I only have one max Latios, but this is without a doubt it was because it was the Hundo. I was only going to max a Hundo, but super glad I did anyways. Hundo Entei, my favorite of the beasts. Without question, it's by far my favorite one between Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Wasn't really big on Suicune. Raikou is the best one of the three, but I was more higher on Entei than the others. Maxed out 2 Moltres. Moltres was when we had to do for our Kabalion duo, so I had to max not 1 but 2 of my Moltres, and I actually maxed out a shiny, which I really like. I actually like Moltres' shiny. Moltres shiny looks arguably the most beautiful out of the 3, in my opinion. Raikou, my best Raikou, and with Wild Charge getting the buff it did, I said screw it, and I might as well have maxed it. Raikou will probably help later on down the road, but with Zekrom, again, same concept as Zapdos with Zekrom in the game now. It's kind of an afterthought. My Gyarados, I have 5 maxed out Gyarados. I have 4 Hundos and 196. I actually have a 5th Hundo, but I really don't feel like maxing it. My Hundo Giratina altered, and I was like, oh man, I got the wrong Hundo, because I really wanted Hundo Origin, but Hundo Altered's still okay, because Altered Giratina still could beat Mewtwo. It can actually beat Origin Giratina because I'm running Dragon Breath, but it still loses hard to like Togekiss, and it still loses to Togekiss. I think it still loses to Zekrom because of Crunch, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look that up on pvpoke.com. I will leave a link in the description. PvPoke is a great online resource for PvP. If you haven't checked that out, I would highly check it out. Hundo Togekiss, I was super hyped up. I said humped. That's like a mixture of hyped and pumped at the same time, I guess. Most importantly, though, it hatched from the current city, Brick Park. It actually hatched from the city I reside in. Really sentimental. I like Togekiss. Togekiss it's pretty solid in the PvP side. It has to watch out for steel types. So it loses pretty hard to Metagross. It loses hard to Melmetal. It actually loses to Kaio, but it could beat a lot of the other parts of the meta. It could beat both the Giratinas. It could beat Dialga, as long as it uses both the shields. It could beat both the newer dragons in the form of Reshiram and Zekrom. And it beats both the Giratinas, so it's a pretty solid Dragon Slayer, to say the least. My Conkeldurs, I have 5 maxed Conkeldurs. This was actually the first Conkeldur I invested in that I maxed out that wasn't from a lucky trade. This one obviously was from a lucky trade, and it was a best budded, so I might as well maxed it, and they're both the same CP, so it didn't really matter. My six maxed Mamoswines really helps out for my Rayquaza duos. Really like Mamoswine with Powder Snow and Avalanche. I would opt to probably give it Bulldoze versus giving it Ancient Power. Ancient Power really has no use for Mamoswine. It's just a little too classy to try and stick around. Oh yes, my Hundos and my 7 maxed Rampardoses. Yikes. Rampardos obviously helped a lot for my solo for Charizard and my duos of Reshiram and Ho-Oh, because of Ho-Oh being a quadruple weakness to Rock. Really helped out on that forefront. I got one of these from a trade, and then one of these was from the research. This one was the one from the trade, and then that was from the research from the Adventure Week breakout. And then my Chandelure is same concept as the Rampardos. I traded for this one, and I got the hundo. And then I got 98 and 93. Although, unfortunately, for Chandelure, Chandelure's kind of in the same it's kind of now in the same, like, empty cabinet that, you know, Entei and Heatran and Moltres are thrown in now because of Reshiram being introduced in the game. It's kind of one you could put on the shelf, but if you have sentimental value and you want to use it, then I would highly use it. Excadrill's really helped out for my Zekrom duos. Really like Excadrill. Excadrill's really good. It drills a hole in the meta because of the double steals. I really like Snorlax. This was from a purified Hundo Snorlax, actually, so it cost me less dust to power up and get by the secondary move. I believe I have 5 Hundo Magnezones, but I only have 2 that are maxed. Vaporeon, 2 Heracrosses. I caught those when I was down on vacation as well. There was a really good hotspot down in Orlando, so caught those very nice and handsomely. Hatched a 98 IV Galarian Darmanitan. Really like Galarian Darmanitan. It's really powerful. Obviously, like the other Darmanitan, it's very glassy. Gardevoirs, I have only 2 max Gardevoirs at the moment, but I will max out probably more. I have 2 Electivires that are maxed out at 98s, but I do have a hundo on the way that I will probably max out. I have 2 maxed out Alakazams, and then here comes the Machamps. So let's see here. I have 9 max Machamps. But because I did get a couple luckies, I invested in less dust. But Machamp obviously was a one-man wrecking crew, or in this case, a 4-armed man wrecking crew. Tangrowth. This was actually one of my first few hundos. Hatched this way back in the first year of the game's existence. Arcanine. I had actually caught this one when I was hundo hunting with a friend of mine. His name's Die Red and Blue. He's also an instinct trainer. We were in the outskirts of both Parma and Brooklyn. Caught a hundo Arcanine. Arcanine's going to have a lot of relevance in the Premier Cup as long as it doesn't go up against... It could go up against Gyarados, but really it can't beat Gyarados unless it can land the Wild Charge. It has a hard time beating the dragons in the form of Garchomp and Dragonite, but it could beat the double steel types with Magnezone and Metagross. And then, of course, it gets walled also by Rhyperior. I have a maxed out hundo Cantonian Exeggutor. I have 2 Alolan Exeggutors, and then I have a Shadow 98 Exeggutor. This is going to help me a lot for my solo for Swampert when Swampert does come back. Unfortunately, I have to wait for the event, the Rocket event, to TM away Frustration. But obviously, I'm not going to purify it because it is a 98. And I really like it as the Shadow. Obviously, the Shadows do more damage, although they suffer the backlash of taking more damage as well. My Hundo Weavile, really like it. I have 2 max Scizors, 2 max Agrons. I have 2 max Swamperts. One of them has Hydro Cannon, and then the other one, unfortunately, is Water Gun and Surf. I maxed this one out a while ago. I maxed this one after its Community Day. And then I have 2 Hundo Roseraids and a 98 Roserade. I really plan on using Roserade for my Swampert solo. Pinsir. Pinsir really helped for my solo for my Shiftry solo. As you saw in the video a while back ago, I have a Hundo Golem, Cantonian Golem. I actually caught this one. I thought for a while, though, I actually hatched it, but I caught this one in the wild. I have not 1 but 2 Hundo Yanmegas, but I chose to max this one out. Ursaring. My Shundo Charizard, one of my favorite Pokemon I have maxed, is the Shundo Charizard with Blast Burn. Take great pride in that one. Blaziken's Hariyama. I have a Max Blissey. One of my other favorite Hundos, my Hundo Lucario. I love Lucario. Lucario has always had a special place in my heart. Actually hatched this on New Year's Eve of 2018. It was one of the last Pokemon I had hatched of the 2018 season. And then heading into the 2019 year, it was a little bit rough, but that's another story to explain. I have 2 maxed Frenzy Plant Venusaurs. I have 4 maxed... I thought I had 4 maxed Breloons. I guess I only had 3. One of them is Grass... Or 2 of them have Grass Knot. The other one is just Dynamic Punch. That was when we were trying to, again, solo... trying to solo... Or 2-man, Cobalion in Cloudy Weather. My 98 IV Toxicroak served me really well in Ultra League until the introduction of Cresselia came in, and then rest in peace Toxicroak. We never saw Toxicroak ever again after the introduction of Cresselia. Then came Drifblim. This one I had actually caught unknowingly while I was grinding down in Berea. I caught this as a Hundo during, I believe, was this the Halloween event or... Oh, no. Oh, and that's funny. I caught this actually on my dad's birthday. So I was like, oh, well, my dad played Pokemon. Happy birthday to him. But still, happy birthday. That happened actually earlier this year. And it is a terrific gym defender because it has a lot of bulk in HP, but not really known as an attacker. My best buddy boosted Shiftry. Wow, I can't tell you how many wins this thing gave me. This thing gave me so many wins in Ultra League. Beat out Cresselia, beat out Giratina, it beat out Swampert. It beat out 3/4 of the meta, for sure. The only one I struggled against was Registeel. And really, you can't beat Registeel because of Registeel has access, obviously, to Focus Blast, and because Shiftry is just really, really glassy to begin with. So, and then my Hundo Ludicolo. I love Ludicolo. It's one of my favorite top Pokemon that are non-legendary. And I actually like that little dance style that Ludicolo has. And then look at him. He just shakes when you touch him, when you click his little animation. And then my best budded Sableye. This thing was also very large for me in the Great League. Helped me beat out a lot of Deoxys defenses. Helped me beat a lot of Hypnos. Sableye is really good. I really like Sableye. I was glad I actually turned this into a best buddy. Caught this one in Olmsted Falls. Actually, it's funny. I was hunting, but I told Dye Red and Blue to come out to my neck of the woods, and he's like, dude, there's a Hundo Sableye on his map. And I was like, let's go get it. We went in and got it. That is my maxed out collection. Obviously, not all of them are Hundos, but majority of them are. As you can see, I have 79 maxed Hundo Pokemon, while the other 94 Pokemon are either non-Hundo or they're just maxed out Pokemon. And that's actually just my maxed out collection. But I'm going to get into the rest of the collections. Slacking, I really don't like maxing Slacking because I don't want Slacking dethroning my Mewtwo from the top spot. And Slacking's kind of an insult being up there because of its CP, because it's so useless. It's just a waste of a spot on the roster, to be honest. I like Skittles. I'm going to talk about that later. That's actually, it's a Garchomp that I specifically made for, I like Skittles, that I will be doing from a lucky trade. And then let's go through the rest of the list here. I have a couple, obviously a few Pokemon that I haven't maxed either because I want to trade it or just because I don't want to invest the dust in it. And then, of course, I will show you my Reshurams. And this one, I will actually max it out. It is a 96 with 13 defense, but the 200K indicates my 200,000th catch, and I specifically wanted to catch it because I did not catch my 50K, my 100K, or my 150K. I didn't catch any of those, but I wanted to catch my 200,000 catch. So I take great pride in catching that. And then as you can see, I have 2 other 98s. And then I actually have a third, but it doesn't have attack. But at this point, I might as well max it. But I will have to wait until I could get more rare candies or when Reshiram comes back. Still haven't maxed out my Hundo Flareon. I probably should do it just to say I did it, as well as my Hundo Glaceon. I will probably do that, and then my Espeon as well. I'll probably do it after I log off the video. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention, call out my Sceptiles. My Sceptiles, this one actually does not have Frenzy Plant, and it's a Hundo, but this one's a 98 that is a Hundo that's maxed. And then I actually maxed Walrein. Walrein's just meh. I wouldn't think Walrein's really anything to brag about. I used it for when it was the only thing I had used to do our Rayquazas. Back when Rayquaza was almost brokenly impossible to try in 2-man, if not 3-man. Gengars, I never got real big into maxing out Gengar. And then, of course, I have 5 other good Terrakions I don't feel like maxing out. I have a lot of duos. Let's see here. But as far as the max collection, you know, that goes as far as my max collection. This is my Granbull I use for PvP. I like Snarl Granbull better than Charm because I can be able to beat Registeel with Snarl versus Charm, because Charm just takes too long to get to the attacks. Obstagoon, I really like Obstagoon. Oh man, Gunk Shot, and then you Gunk Shot down those fairy types with no shield when shields are down. Obstagoon goes to town. As King says, when shields are down, fill in the blank space, goes to town. All right, and that looks like that will probably wrap up this video. And then, of course, I have a boatload of Zekrams I will eventually max out. I actually have 4 96s and a 98. 98 that doesn't have attack, unfortunately, but I also have a lot of Luckies. But yeah, for the most part, that is my maxed out collection, and that is my collection of Pokemon that I have maxed and that I have actually put the investment in, and that is my collection for you guys. I hope you guys really liked the video. I know I haven't posted in a while, but given everything that's happened with the circumstances, I figured it was proper. But if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you have in the comments down below, what your favorite Pokemon that you have that's maxed and or that is shiny. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one, everybody.